So, it's been a year since I started my channel. I just want to say thank you to everybody who did, stick around for some of my awful anime reviews and like the fucking 25 different videos about Bakugan. So thank you very much. And so, this channel has finally come full circle, and basically, we're doing like the third video I ever did, a Bakugan Season 1 review. So anyways, thank you very much for watching, like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So, if we go back to 2007, remember, the series Bakugan Battle Brawls came out, and this anime was pretty much overshadowed by quite a lot of things that were coming out at the time, which I forgot to research. Probably Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Top Gear that was out at the time. But this anime was pretty much underrated compared to everything else, and personally, in my opinion, Bakugan Battle Brawls was an absolute masterpiece. You're probably thinking, what the hell makes this anime so good? Why is this an underrated masterpiece? Well, firstly, I'll have to explain to you the story. So, what happens is, a bunch of cards start flying out of the sky, and nobody knows where the hell they came from. So the kids obviously be like, oh dang, these are some pretty neat cards, we're going to take them to a scientist. Well, that isn't actually what they did. They created a game based around these cards. And when they created the game, some balls came out of the cards. And these balls happened to turn into monsters when thrown down onto the cards, and also the part where they have to travel to another dimension to actually play the game. But we'll skip over that because that's too much explaining. So these kids obviously create the game, and also they create all the rules and everything else around it, including a smartwatch and a literal law system Bakugan when they go into the other dimension to play the game. Which, by the way, this whole game, Bakugan, being created by a bunch of kids and having more structured rules than a normal game of tag, is very, very surprising. But then again, this is an anime, literally anything can happen. So then, you're probably thinking, wow, these kids created a game. This anime is probably about these kids playing the game. Wrong! Firstly, there's this guy called Masquerade, and he's a massive dick, and he hates rules. And he also uses this illegal card called the Doom card. Now you're probably thinking, what the hell does this card do? Well, when Masquerade beats someone's Bakugan, it opens a portal straight to Serbia.
No! I beg of you, don't do this, Master!
Sorry, only one Bakugan can survive Third Judgment.
Pay for this!
I mean, the Doom Dimension, the place where Bakugan go to die. And so, the main 6 characters have to find him and stop him. So later in the series, we also find out about this guy called Naga. And Naga basically wants a lot of power because he wasn't born with an ability. Because he wants to get all this power, he does the normal thing. Take the life force of the planet. So he tries to absorb the Silent Core. But what happens is, he gets absorbed into it, and then reabsorbed in some other shit. And then basically causing Vestroya to become Ohio and become ripped apart into several dimensions, causing everybody to fight. And then eventually, everybody gets sent to whatever other dimension they get sent to. Also, there's this guy called Michael, which I don't know what Mike is doing in an anime, but whatever the hell he does. So, an anime is only as good as the characters in it. For example, Gintama, or I don't know, many other anime. But anyways, so the main character of this series is Dan and Drago, and we're introduced to Dan when he's like finished with school or something, and he's gonna go and fight some guy in a Bakugan battle. Now you're probably thinking, who's this guy who's challenging Dan to a battle? Well, it's a guy who literally embodies the name Billy. This guy probably goes to Krispy Kreme and orders 2 of the 12-pack donuts, but only original glaze because he's a bland as fuck personality. Eats all of them in the shop, goes back and then orders 1 of the Krispy Kreme original glaze donuts with the chocolate sprinkles on it, and then leaves the restaurant to go and eat a doner kebab. The next character we have is Mr. Hotshot himself, Shun. And now Shun is basically considered the best Bakugan brawler until Masquerade arrives and tries to overtake him in like the point system that they've magically created online. He's also Dan's childhood friend and also pretty much a loner who also does like ninja training for some reason. Also, his mum is dead. She dies of anime disease. The next character we have is Alice. Now, Alice pretty much knows everything about Bakugan, however, she doesn't brawl. She's basically like Bakugan tech support. Like, if you don't know anything about Bakugan, whether it be like the rules, how to operate a battle gear, you can probably just ring up Alice and be like, hey, look, I don't know how to do this thing, please explain, and then she'll probably explain it to you. She's also a character from Russia, and I'm trying to think of anything else interesting I can say about her. Not much. What we have is Marucho. Now Marucho is incredibly small, blonde, and has glasses. He's also extremely rich and basically creates these Bakugan launchers that go on the wrist. I have no clue why I'm pointing at my wrist, but you know, whatever now. He creates the Bakugan launchers. He also is basically the headquarters of the Bakugan Battle Brawlers for pretty much all of Bakugan, and to be honest, he's a really great character. The next character we have is Julie. Julie is a character who basically smiles through everything, whether it be like pain, getting shot at, losing a Bakugan. She'll try her best to smile through everything. Basically, she's too fucking happy and always very much annoying, and I do not like Julie compared to the other characters in the series, because she's just very annoying. Ah yes, everybody's favourite angry Hatsune Miku ripoff, Bruno. Now Bruno is just always angry at something, and to be honest, that's really it. She also looks like Hatsune Miku, like a little bit as well, and there isn't really much to say about Bruno other than the fact she's constantly angry. And finally, we have the character Masquerade. Now Masquerade is probably literally the best villain in Bakugan, like, ever. Because he's just always so intimidating, very highly skilled, and just one of the best Bakugan brawlers in Bakugan. He could probably solo all of the Vexos, King Xenoheld, and that big fucking battleship from Season 2. He could also probably solo Mectavius Destroyer and literally everybody else. Now, even the villain, and now there's lots and lots of characters in this first season of Bakugan, mostly just the side characters such as Joe, who's genuinely just a really cool character, and just all of the side villains who are actually really interesting characters. For example, Comba, who was never mentioned again after this season. Also, Klaus, who's actually brought back after this season, who's just a really cool character, I guess. And there's also a lot more, for example, Chan Li, who's a pretty decent character as well. There's lots of really great characters in this season, which were some of them were brought back and some of them weren't. One of the many things I love about this series is basically the character development over the span of the 50-something episodes that there are. Because in the beginning, Dan is basically an egotistical, horny 12-year-old who's, you know, doing his 12-year-old things. But when he meets Drago, Dan and Drago, like, they form a connection, like, I guess you could say. They teach each other to become better. Well, Drago does most of the teaching, but there's probably a lesson or so that Dan taught Drago. For example, not to throw Drago in the river, because he lost an argument, and then, you know, he goes back to get him eventually. And also all the characters going through their character development arc later in the series when they have to fight the 6 ancient warriors of New Vestroia. Vestroia, whatever the hell. And then also the battling system and the battles in general. I really did enjoy the battling system of this season because it relied a lot more on skill of the players and be like, oh dang, that's a clever move that guy did. It's kind of like watching chess. Actually no, it's not like watching chess. But it's genuinely really good battling. Also, you know, it doesn't rely much more on spamming random ability cards and hoping something to happen because you've got to use the skill. The brawlers have actually got to use skill. So, in my personal, very biased opinion, I think this is definitely the best season of Bakugan for literally anyone to watch. Firstly, because it's literally the first season and probably the best well written. This one's got a very serious story that's covered up with a little bit of with a lot of jokes from the characters, and also it's really just fun to watch and a great show in general. So please go and watch Bakugan Battle Brawlers. And now, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more videos from me, please do like and subscribe. Click here if you want to see all of, like, the remastered Bakugan videos, and click here if you want to watch me review manga or whatever the hell my newest video is. Anyways, goodbye.